Today I'm going to be going over the effects of pornography on youth and especially how early exposure can affect how they think about themselves, their relationships with others, and how it leads to insecurities in their early adult life. One thing that I learned when researching this topic is that 15% of people saw online pornography before they were at the age of 10 or younger, and the average age being 12. That's actually an insanely low age to be exposed to that content at. And out of those who have participated in the study, 44% of them saw pornography intentionally, and 58% of them saw it accidentally. So that means more people are seeing it on accident than on purpose. And 71% of those that said that they saw it intentionally continue to watch pornography intentionally and report seeing it in the last week. Unintentional exposure to pornography could be a common experience for teens, as 63% of those who said that they have only seen pornography accidentally reported that they had been exposed to pornography in the past week. So those that see it on accident keep seeing it on accident too, because it's very prevalent. 45% felt that online pornography gives helpful information about sex. So out of the youth that are being exposed, a lot of them use pornography to learn about sex. Some of the effects of being exposed to pornography earlier, such as having sex under the age of 16, which is below normal, below the average, and having sex with sex workers is also increased if you've been exposed to pornography earlier, or paying or receiving payments for sex. That's also increased if you are exposed at a young age, along with having multiple partners, multiple sexual partners over your lifetime, and even sex with groups, along with the other effects of more sex in your life, such as teenage pregnancy or high reported histories of STIs and rape, or being a survivor of rape. In another study, we can see that something interesting happens because at an older age, like in their older teenage years, not like as much 10 or like 9, 10, 11, 12, but when you really get up to 15, 16, 17, we see in males when they're developing, they start to, if they're exposed at their older teenage years, they start to have a greater adherence to the Playboy masculine norms, such as in the pornography, and they start to associate how their masculinity should be with those videos. So we see that if someone is developing their masculinity, they can draw from the pornography videos how they should act as a man, rather than if they're very young and they don't have any concept of masculinity. In that aspect, we actually see that it affects the younger ones less. In this study, more teens report seeing violent pornography than when someone asks for consent in pornography, and 45% of the teens believe that it gives helpful information about sex, and 27% state that it accurately shows sex. One other thing which I found crazy is like you can be scrolling in class and, nearly one third of all teens reported they have been exposed to pornography during the school day. It's actually crazy. So like if you're sitting next to two people from all teens in the world, it might not be one of those two people, but 1 in 3 people are exposed to pornography during the school day, which that's actually crazy. During the school day, when you're supposed to be learning about like important things. Additionally, this is very affecting the youth because throughout the day, 1 in 4 teens who have said that they have seen pornography report that they think about watching online pornography throughout the day. So it affects their ability to focus because they're thinking about, erotica and sexual parts when they should be focusing on the work. And this can deteriorate the workforce because the workers are thinking about their partners, well, not even their partners, but online harems, then how can they be productive? And it's the same with students in school. It's affecting everyone's productivity. Another thing we can see from this study here is that pornography exposure in adolescence often correlates to rape. And out of these studies, 2 out of the 3 studies reported a major positive association in reported experiences of forced sex in males. So there's if males are exposed to pornography at a younger age, 2 out of the 3 studies found that it has a major positive association with rape. So pornography exposure, according to these studies, raises the rate of men raping others. Pornography not only affects those who view pornography, but also those who are forced into or partake in making the pornography. If we can see here that the most common form of human trafficking is sexual exploitation, representing 50% of the cases that we know of, and we estimate that around 5 million individuals, adults and children, are trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation internationally, which a lot of that ends up being pornography. And from a study way back in 2016, we found that 4.3 million children under the ages of 18 were forced into labor, and of that, this estimate includes 1 million children in commercial sex exploitation, which that's in 2016. Now we have the tools to get better estimates, but that's an insane amount of children that are being exploited for pornography, in real life sex, all these horrible, heinous acts. So I actually got one of my friends to do an interview for me, and I'm gonna play that interview on the screen now. I go over some questions about how pornography has affected his life, and for many people, it's positive for them. It's not negative. So it's kind of case by case in how people view pornography. Do I have your permission to record?
Yeah.
So for the first question, it's going to be, at what age were you exposed to adult content online?
So I think the first time I saw stuff like that, I was around 13 or 14. Yeah.
Do you think that negatively affected your emotional appeal or like your security growing up?
Actually not. To be honest, it didn't really affect. It didn't make me feel ugly or stuff like that. Yeah, for me, it didn't really have any effect.
Okay. And do you find adult content to be good, helpful to your life, or do you go the other way and bad or neutral?
It's definitely not helpful. I think there could be some things that more kids should be looking for, because it's not good to see stuff like that online every day. It definitely gives you a wrong perspective about seeing naked women online, or like I said, stuff like that. I don't think it's good for the kids. And yeah, I think I'll move on with the next one.
How did you first stumble across adult content online?
I'm gonna be honest, I was around 13. I was hearing a lot of my friends back then about them jerking off and stuff like that. And I was just, I knew I had some comment. I decided to look online for videos like that and do it myself. Yeah, that was the context for my first time.
Are you currently addicted to adult content? If so, for how long?
No, I don't consider myself being addicted to it. I definitely do it somewhat often, or let's say once every couple of weeks, but I don't consider myself addicted to it. I had a couple years ago, I had a period of time where I was doing it probably on a daily basis, and I realized it's not a good thing, and I took a big break around half a year, and after that I've been doing it, but not as often, and yeah, I don't consider myself addicted anymore.
So, when you were doing it every single day, did you find it difficult to take that big break?
Yeah, I mean, when you do something on a daily basis, doesn't matter what it is, you're gonna feel like doing it for the next days as well. So I didn't find it as hard as I thought it would be, but it was definitely something that I missed for a couple of days, let's say, or a couple of weeks.
So, have you seen a bunch of like support systems or a lack of support systems on like people that might try and like get over that might not be able to? Do you think there's a lot or too little or just the right amount?
I feel like there is some out there, but it's definitely not enough. I've definitely seen some TikToks or some news with some influencers or stuff like that saying things about porn not being the right choice and getting our kids in the wrong direction for the future. I definitely think there should be more stuff like that out there for kids to understand it's not the right thing to do, especially in the big amount that kids do it these days. And yeah, I definitely think there should be more resources like that for kids who need help about it.
And you're a freshman?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I invite you, the watcher, to ask yourself, is pornography positively, because many people find it positive for them, or has it negatively affected my life, or maybe my partner's life, my friend's life? Can you kind of tell a difference if you have went through a gap of your life without it versus a gap of your life with it? Is there a difference for you? How do you feel about it? Of course, this video itself was very anti-pornography, but there are many articles out there that claim positive effects of pornography, along with many saying negative. But just food for thought. We went over the negative effects of pornography and how it can shape unrealistic expectations, increase insecurity, influence attitudes, and the behaviors of young people before they are ready to understand or comprehend what's going on in these videos. And I think this topic should be taken very seriously, and instead of ignoring it or like keeping it private or that's something personal business, I think we should bring it out there and it should be taken seriously and we should have honest conversations, more education, and more awareness about how early exposure can affect development. Thank you.